Hey guys, welcome to Nico Play. This is another episode of Love, Money and Rock and Roll, and Catherine moved closer and took me by the shirt, pulling out it slightly. So it's exactly the same spot where we finished. I didn't had a chance to check what will be next. So I'm just gonna try to pray and hope that there will be no explicit scenes. So let's go. What are you doing? I was dumbfounded but didn't move. What does it look like? The look in her eyes. I knew it too well. But what was she trying to achieve? After everything that happened between us, now? I clearly understood this girl much less than I thought. This looks like another one of your jokes. Nobody's forcing you, you know. She pulled more strongly. And what next? It'll only get worse. I understand you don't care, you don't feel. Come here, I'll show you what I feel. Are you fucking kidding me? All your words, your tears, all for this? Things could have been much simpler. Simpler? Catherine started up. So you like it simpler these days with Himitsu, I guess. Do you fuck her on this bed? She stood up and threw the bed sheet on the floor. I bet Miss Chastity is quite the slut in bed. Her hands nimbly managed the bell of my jeans. Do you want me to do the same way you do her? I'm capable of languid moans too, you know. Nico-kun. Not there. Nico-kun. I love you, Nico-kun. What the fuck is that shit? Why? She parodied Himitsu. That was nice parody, by the way. Katya, don't please. He's too small for you. The arousal was making my head spin. I knew it was wrong. I knew Catherine too well. She was doing this to hurt me. Anger, resentment, maybe even jealousy. I wasn't sure if she was entirely aware of her own actions. Oh, so I'm no longer good enough for you, is that it? You just love me but would rather sleep with her? Where did it come from? First of all, like, why you think like that? No, there's nothing between us. Oh, Nikolai, are you sure? Would you like there to be something, wouldn't you? Hey, yeah, Catherine is a good girl. She understands more than he understood about himself. I wouldn't. She totally would though, and you wouldn't be able to refuse. Oh no, trust me, she tried so many times. Nico-kun don't give a fuck. Katya, enough. Look at me. I was afraid to raise my eyes at her. Look at me! Her cheeks were flushed, eyes glistering, breath heavy. Katya, please, I can barely hold. Hold what? You have nothing in your pants, you're not a man. After removing my Guys, we actually agreed nothing explicit, okay. After removing my jeans, Catherine started to undress, throwing her blouse off. Don't you want to? I said nothing. I simply didn't have the strength. If I were to take this step, I could ruin everything between us forever. I carefully but firmly took her hands in mine. Of course I want to, but I can't. Fine then. Catherine immediately cooled down, moved away from me, and quickly got dressed. I just wonder how you react. Wondered? How I'd react? What? I was dumbfounded. What do you mean? What if I didn't stop? Well, then you wouldn't have. She shrugged her shoulders indifferently and turned away. Is this a game for you? A psychological experiment? Something like that. I was interested in how consistent you could be. He's not a man. Katya, he's not a man. Just like fucking Nico-kun. Like, the key word was like you want to have it easy. Yes, Nico, this guy, he wants to have everything easy in his life. This is maybe seriously, he does not deserve Himitsu. He's not deserving Himitsu. So this is why maybe it's better to run after Katya right now. Because Katya gonna kick him off. Himitsu will see that she'll kick him off as well. And then Fuyusoki is gonna be our friend. Leave, please leave. Don't order me around. I was about to go anyway. Then leave already. I can't look at you anymore. Pfft. She huffed. But then the front door in the hall opened. Nico-kun, are you home? Go meet your guest. Or have you already? She didn't finish. She just smirked. We're here, Katya suddenly shouted. A couple seconds later, Himitsu shyly peeked into the room. Katya-chan, hi! I just dropped by. I immediately remember how they had been fighting just a couple days ago. Oh god, don't mind me, I'm already leaving and won't disturb the two of you. He's all yours. You aren't disturbing us at all. That's even better. ... When I and Himitsu were left alone, she asked, Why did Katya-chan came along? That's what I'd like to know. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. I don't know what to talk about it. Nico-kun. Himitsu looked genuinely upset. Sure, she was worried about me, but I couldn't tell her everything that happened. Now, how could I? She just wanted to explain why she returned. And why did she? She failed to put it into words. Yeah. Nico-kun. What? That's the truth. Yeah, it's not the best situation, but nothing tragic happened and I'm not about to put my neck in a noose. You wouldn't even tie the right knot? She laughed quietly. Me? Of course I would. The knot can't stand against me. Alright, let's eat. Yeah, let's eat, I guess. I desperately wanted to change the topic. Just wanted to see how you react. What was that, a banana for a monkey performing a trick? How soon would she train me to stand on hind legs and bark on command? Although she never liked dogs, so I would have to learn to let out convincing meows. ... Over lunch, I tried not to look at Himitsu. Luckily, she wasn't inclined to chatter either and even seemed happy. You know, the Japanese hospitality industry is missing out on a great chief. What? Nico-kun, no, I've already decided who I want to be. Yeah, sure, but your cooking's also great. This time I was even telling the truth. Everything was in fact delicious. I can always cook for my husband and children. Just go fucking marry Himitsu. Seriously, fuck Catherine, fuck everything. Seriously. Himitsu sat and looked at me, something like a plea, seeming to gleam in her eyes. Sure you can. Sure you can. I lowered my eyes and concentrated on finishing the curry. Should we go somewhere tomorrow? Tomorrow? She thought for a moment. I felt guilty towards Himitsu, guilty for everything at once. No, don't feel guilty because you're fucking not a man. You couldn't take Catherine. I'm pretty sure your guy down below was like too weak, or you just don't have this guy, so whatever. No, I can't tomorrow. Have to clean the house. Oh, alright then, another time. Another time. Thanks for the meal. I stood up from the table and gathered the dishes. I'll wash them. You don't have to, I can. No way, I gotta make myself useful at least somehow. Okay. I was silently washing the dishes while Himitsu sat motionlessly at the table, look at me. Finally, I started to feel uneasy. What is it? Nothing, I was just daydreaming. What about? Just school stuff. Oh, okay then. It was absolutely obvious that at the moment we were both unable to talk about the things we wanted to, but distracting ourselves with a neutral conversation wasn't working out either. By the way, about the school, I still have so much homework to do. Yeah, homework's important. I guess I'll go then. See you. ... This crazy day was coming to its end. It seemed like things weren't going too badly. I hadn't made a grave mistake and everything seemed to be fine with Himitsu. Could life be starting to get better? But I still hadn't sorted out my feelings. Katya let me know today that she still cared for me, at least more than she was trying to show. Most probably there was something I still didn't know. And what about Himitsu? I had absolutely no idea how to act around her anymore. One day she would get tired of pretending everything was fine. Because things weren't fine for her, right? I wasn't even so sure anymore. She and Catherine had been fighting just recently, but today Himitsu could hold herself back in my presence, but what if things weren't at all how they seemed? Suddenly, I started to feel a strong headache. I went to the cupboard to look for aspirin and happened across my father's old bottle of whiskey. Yeah, drink more alcohol. There wasn't really any reason to drink today. Aspirin helped a bit, but blood kept throbbing in my ears. Sometimes life gives you another chance. This day could have gone much worse. Like how? How much worse? It was the perfect day and you lost it. You're asking God for help, but they're like, this is the thing. The God send you a help, and you just like, oh no, 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 no. Pussy. Careful, Nikolai, you've been warned. Were you to leave the situation resolved, you suffer until the end of your days. I'm going totally nuts. I grind and went to sleep. Okay, it's probably next day, right? Yeah, next day. What about the third girl, by the way? The one that played guitar? That the Miss Queen or the queen of the school? Forgot her name, whatever. Sana, something Sana. Right after I opened my eyes, the pulsating headache returned. It felt like I hadn't slept at all. Dark dreams born by my inflamed consciousness and kept me from getting any rest. I would wake up and fall asleep so fast that I couldn't tell dreams from reality. It was still quite early for a Sunday morning, but my headache only got worse as I lay in bed. I got up and walked around the room, stretching with delight. The meager breakfast reminded me how much I missed Himitsu on days like this. Truly, it's easy to get used to something good, stop noticing it, and end up not appreciating at all. Suddenly, someone knocked on my door, and I could hear a voice coming from outside. Nico-kun? Now that was unexpected. I dashed to the hall. Yes, Himitsu, girl, let's go to my bedroom. Hi! Himitsu was shifting from one foot to another if she couldn't bring herself to step in. I thought you were going to clean your house today. Yes, I am. Well, come on in. I just came for a minute. I looked at her questioningly. Also, alright. Himitsu smiled and stepped in. What is this? Himitsu gave the remains of my breakfast a rather displeased look. Let me make something quick for you. No need, I've eaten already. It was as if yesterday had never happened. I felt uncomfortable standing next to her, felt an urgent need to explain myself, but was too scared to start the conversation all over again. Fine, then I'll make dinner and you can heat it up later. What about you clean up? Cooking won't take long. Sunshine, enough. Oh my god, he called her Sunshine. That's so cutie. I didn't mean to call her that, it was a habit. Himitsu looked at me with uncomprehendingly and quietly sat down on the chair, letting her arms drop impotently. You impotent! Fuck. Find some time for yourself. Not that you can call cleaning that, but still, I guess I shouldn't stay silent. If I didn't have things to do, I'd spend all my time for myself with you. She smiled, and her smile, sincere and even childlike naive, gave me determination. Don't you feel bored with me? Bro, I'm so fucking bored with you. I cannot play this game anymore, but we have to finish it. I got used to it. And she smirked. Not a good things to get used to. I laughed, but Himitsu didn't bat an eye. Some people get rid of bad habits. Like who? Well, if I started it. Don't mind Katya. Yesterday turned out stupid. I can only imagine what I think in your place, but everything is fine. What would you think in my place? Himitsu never looked away from my face, but appeared absolutely calm. Actually, anything. I let out an idiotic laugh. What if she came to murder me? I wouldn't even be surprised. Okay. Are you serious? Let's change the topic. Yes, she knows something about Japanese girls. Like, they, murdering their exes. Just, to, like, wipe out. If he's not mine, then he's nobody's. He cannot date another girl. I'm not gonna date him too, bitch. Okay, Himitsu stood, fluttered up and went out into the garden. What wonderful weather! Yeah, we could go out, but you still have cleaning to do. It's okay, we can go out another time, and now I'll get back to cleaning, and you to your homework. You did start your homework, right? And don't forget to eat dinner. Yes, Mom. I let out outside when the front door closed behind her. It had gone alright, even better than I could have expected. So had nothing changed between me and Himitsu? And what about Catherine? We never managed to have a proper talk the day before. Actually, I wasn't even sure if that's what she had come from. A scary thought crossed my mind that if she did it on purpose, what if she was leading me on, hoping that Himitsu would catch us? If she wanted to take revenge on me, fine, but why drag Himitsu into it? I started walking around the kitchen, hoping to calm down. Catherine hadn't just returned to Japan, to my school. She was back for vengeance. God, now this was paranoia. Even if she disliked me that much, if that somehow offended her, that was no reason to behave like this. It was Katya after all. I knew her too well, or at least wanted to think I did. Why not just ask her? That was simple. I dithered at the phone, staring at the piece of paper with the captivating numbers written on it. Sure, I didn't have Catherine's number and I couldn't call her, but I also desperately wanted to finish yesterday's conversation. To set the record straight once and for all. But that's not how things go, is it? The phone suddenly rang on its own, and after a long time staring at the shrinking machine, I finally picked up the receiver. Hello? I didn't say a word. Hello! Catherine repeated with discontent clear in her voice. Life surprises are always unpleasant. Yes? Well, hi. She said calmly. How do you know this number? Did you really have it written somewhere? I did, Sherlock. Oh my god, role-playing, role-playing! So are you Mr. Watson? Dr. Watson? She's Dr. Watson. And I'm gonna be Sherlock Holmes. And we're gonna get together. How are you doing? I'm fine. I didn't know what to say to her over the phone. Look, do you have any plans for today? Why? Do you have a proposal? Well, yeah, I thought we could meet. Why? Honestly, I feel like we didn't really finish our conversation yesterday. Is that so? ... Alright, fine. See you in the city center at 2 and don't be late. Okay. I didn't even have the time to finish as she hung up. Well, it could be worse. Catherine had agreed too easily even. Probably took me too long to get ready. I spent an hour deciding what I was going to wear. Then I took a shower, shaved, combed my hair. Seriously, was I going to a meeting or a date? On Sundays, people in Tokyo tend to move slower than usual, and not only because they don't need to go to work. Recreation is a ritual. They spend 5 or 6 days a week courting their clients, and then they expect to be courted by waiters, shop assistants, administrators, actors, and singers. It is extremely important to show your status as someone who's earned the right to respect and polite treatment through hard work. Sunday is the day when the man in the gray suit does not stand below anyone else, when he's in their lord. Another thing, young people strutting around in colorful outfits and pretending to be social rebels. They feel superior to those hidebound retrogrades, having a couple years to spare before they start molting, shedding bright feathers and growing protective gray fur for the long summer of life. Absorbing all the different characters of Japan's capital distracted me from thoughts of the Catherine, so I managed to get to the meeting spot pretty quickly. The clock in the shop window across the street indicated that there was still half an hour left. Wow, nice, quick. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I almost had enough of this. Catherine was just about half an hour late. Half an hour late? Okay. Japanese people usually agree to meet at all the same places, near stations, at fountains, on squares, and at monuments. Why this shop then? Because this was the place where we had our first kiss. Okay, good. Just like that, on a busy street in the afternoon without shame in front of everyone. Well, you know, the thing is, the true women, you have to wait for the true woman. You cannot just like, you know, she will come exactly at 2 p.m, boom, boom. You know, no, it doesn't work like that. Maybe it wasn't the most romantic place, but I couldn't wait anymore, and she didn't seem to mind. It all happened so long ago, as if in previous life, and I was standing here, losing the last remnants of my self-respect, waiting for who knows what. Sorry. I turned around to see Catherine standing in front of me. Why she didn't change the clothes? On the date, the girl has to fucking look like a fucking porno star or some shit. She looked like a fucking monk from Tibet. It was strange that she appeared from that side. I thought you come from there. I waved my hand in the direction where her house used to be. I don't need to take the subway anymore. Miscalculated the time a little. Stellar logic. Yeah, sure, the ones who come late to school always live closest to it. Actually, yeah, that's the funny thing. I had friends who used to literally you can see their house from the window of the school, and they're always late. Always late. A little? I've already stopped waiting for you. Then what are you doing here? Oh, shit. She smiled, quite genuinely as it seemed. Must be a habit too. Alright, let's talk. Let's walk. I can see the owner of the shop giving me suspicious looks. Of course, Katya knew what shop it was when she decided on the meeting point, but my words still made her blush and quickly lowered her head. ... For a while, we walked in silence. To be honest, I don't even know where to start. Let's just not start this all over again for the 100th time, alright? I think we've already figured out who returned to where and why. Okay, we have. I mumbled limply. I really didn't have the strength to go over this again. Honestly, I just have no idea what else we should talk about. Let's enjoy the silence then. Do you need company for that? Well, we could also chat. My Japanese is a little rusty. Do you really need it though? In a year you'll be studying in a college in the States. Who knows? She replied wistfully. There's no way you want to stay here. And you? Do I have a choice? There's always a choice, but most people simply don't see it. That's easy to say in your position. It is. One thing I always liked about Katya was her sincerity. Not honesty, no, she kept a lot to herself, even hid things, but she was never overly polite and refused to adjust herself to others. She would disagree with or even offend older people if they were wrong. Never idolized anyone remotely successful as was common here. She always had that inner strength, and to be honest, I often felt a little intimidated around her, knowing she was a stronger person than I. It had been the case back then. Now she appeared to just be an arrogant, petulant, mad-mannered girl who toyed with me, fully aware of my feelings. So, what are your plans for the future? Same as before? Exactly, same as before. Nothing. What would Himitsu say about that? Do you care? Suddenly, Catherine stopped and looked at me intently. Do you still not know anything? No, what? I felt uneasy, as if I was missing some vital detail. I don't want people to think I'm at fault here, that I'm interfering in your life or relationships. The thought alone makes me feel gross, like I care. This sort of thing was typical for Catherine. She was always overly obsessed with how she appeared to other people. Just imagining it. Catherine clenched her teeth angrily. Nobody's accusing you of anything, just put yourself in my shoes. It seems to be too much of coincidence. Coincidence is a good way to put it. There's nothing more to it than that. We can forget all this and move on. I said unexpectedly even to myself and stopped. Forget? She asked, startled. Well, yes, it's the best option. Nobody's at fault. Yes, things just happened. Things happen, and in the end... yeah. That was the fastest and most ridiculous ending to any war in history. We achieved peace by destroying the population of both countries. That's why you decided to meet here, right? Catherine didn't reply, didn't even give me a look. All you said was in the city center, and I came here. Because this is the most convenient spot, not too far from my place or from yours. Well, it was definitely just coincidence, nothing more like that. Here you go again. She let out a sigh. Just getting a little nostalgic, I beg your pardon? I'm not going to shame you for that. Catherine pretended to look at something on the other side of the street to hide her embarrassment. That's something. You can't shame a person for their memories. It's a bad idea to point fingers to begin with. You have to start with yourself. Is that a statement or advice? Both, I guess. She paid zero attention to the obvious ambiguity of my words. Remember when you ditched a class because you had a fight with our English teacher? Yeah, he was wrong and I pointed out his mistake. In Japan, being older is more important than being right. Wow, Nikolai suddenly became wise man. Wow, he was so stupid for all those 6 or 7 episodes that we were recording, and immediately he was like, oh, ho, ho. Some Japanese philosophy, motherfucker. Catherine laughed quietly. And then you followed me. Of course I did. The class was boring anyway. No, we didn't follow you. We did not follow you. I said no. We stay with Himitsu. And I wanted to get to know you better. No, you're not. I guess you're not happy you know me now. Himitsu isn't for sure. My entire life doesn't revolve around her, you know. Don't take that as an accusation. Quite the opposite. What about you? Is there a dashing cowboy waiting for you in the US? US? From fucking Texas with a AR-15 and freaking farm. This joke fell flat and she didn't respond right away because you didn't add AR-15. No. Sorry, it's none of my business. I wasn't looking for one. I told you it's none of my business. So you're not interested at all? In what? Katya finally stopped and gave me a curious look. I don't know how to respond to that. To what? Relax, it was a joke. You and your jokes. By the way, do you want to drop by? Catherine pointed at the building entrance next to us. Do you live here now? What was this? It's more convenient than before, isn't it? Yeah, closer to our school. Wouldn't your mother mind me coming in? She's at work. Ah, is that so? I have a feeling you're misinterpreting the situation. I can't imagine how else I could interpret. Exactly! Okay, once again, I just don't want to be considered... I'm just being polite. It's Japanese hospitality. No, it's not Japanese hospitality. You're fucking American. Nobody in America do that. Like, oh, hey, Nico-kun, let's go to my house. I would be married like 10,000 times. Be ready. Yeah, you and I are very Japanese. Exactly. Fucking Russian motherfucker and fucking USA slut. Nice. Catherine smiled slightly, which somehow calmed me down. Maybe it was time to stop pretending she was... Maybe it was time to stop pretending she was Hitler? What the fuck? She must have felt somewhat guilty as well. Alright, let's go. That was weird. Hitler. Why Hitler? Why not Stalin? Or fucking Putin? Catherine lived in a pretty large apartment. A place that's spacious in the middle of Tokyo could only be afforded by very wealthy people. But she has like fucking mini split. It's not even central air conditioning. Ooh. Peasants. Or high-ranking diplomats. Not that the Winters family had much to complain about even in the past. They used to live in a decent multifamily housing block, although not in the most prestigious of districts. Did that mean that her mother had been promoted? Sit down already. Catherine sat clearly displeased by me studying her guest room for far too long. Actually, my house is better, okay? I have a backyard. Everything looks so European. Do you find it weird? Not really. Do you want some coffee, tea? I want your milk, baby. I still couldn't figure out why Catherine had invited me here in the first place. No, thank you. Stop acting like you're being interrogated. Yeah, just take tea, I don't know. She smiled. You would make a good policewoman. Noted. Thanks. So what did you want to talk about? We should have talked right away. I guess you're right about that. I remained silent, afraid to interrupt when she was speaking so candidly. Besides, I don't want to think I did something wrong. I don't want anyone to think that. Because I didn't. She gave me a furious look, as if I was objecting. Kuyosoki must have already told everyone at school. Come on, he wouldn't. Of course he did. But then why would she transfer to our school at all? I couldn't ask that question right now as much as I wanted to. You're a terrible liar. It didn't feel like the first time someone told me as much. Terrible because you usually have nothing to lie about. Because nothing happens in my life? Isn't that true? Do you want to teach me or... Katya stood at the side of the room, looking out of the window with a sad expression, her arms folded over the chest. I'm not rushing you, just put yourself in my shoes. I can't. Not because I don't want to, I simply can't. I don't know your situation. She smiled slightly and shifted her gaze to me. You think I'm such a bitch, don't you? I don't. Sometimes I'm just very often I don't really understand you. Neither do I. I don't know what happened next. You think I have it easy. ... But you're responsible for your own life. Nobody can take you halfway around the world like a piece of luggage just because that's the job. I know you don't like it here. Don't like it? Catherine smirked bitterly. I have maybe one good memory of this country. What is it? Suddenly her expression changed. Maybe you'd still like some tea? Of course, that good memory is Nikolai, of course. What other good memory she's gonna have? Well, alright. Refusing twice would have just been impolite. Katya quickly walked to the kitchen, leaving me alone in the living room. What was she talking about? It seemed I was beginning to understand why she had invited me here, but was too afraid to admit it even to myself, so as to not be even more disappointed afterward. She would come back with hot tea in hand, cold and arrogant once again, and I wouldn't only be able to think about how the two of us were about to make up. Maybe she simply didn't know what she wanted. I stood up and walked around the room. It was spotless, though not really that big. A phone hung on the wall, and a small piece of paper with a telephone number was stuck next to it. I guess she hadn't memorized this number yet. I quickly grabbed a pen from the table and wrote the number on my hand. Catherine kept the place tidy, only a few notebooks carelessly scattered on the table standing out of the general picture. I picked up one of them and flipped through it. Modern Japanese language. For a hard-working student with far-reaching plans to enroll in a prestigious college, she made too many mistakes. Although I doubt she would need Japanese in the US. I looked more carefully. The way she wrote some kanji looked familiar to me. Was Katya's handwriting similar to Kuyosoki's? No, not really, it was too even. I started to turn over the pages feverishly, looking for certain words. You, grave, people, kanji and hiragana on the pages before started to form into sentences. Nikolai's son, be careful, you're in grave danger. Certain very powerful people linked to your father are after you. This is not a prank or hoax. No doubt about it, that note was written in the same handwriting. On the notebook's cover, in the same neat manner, was written Catherine Winters. But how? Why? I started furiously flipping through other notebooks. It was all the same. But back then, during the break, I was sure the handwriting was different. I heard steps coming from the kitchen and got scared out of my mind. Sorry it took so long. I don't usually drink tea and you aren't a big fan of coffee. What's the matter with you? Catherine asked. Startled, apparently I looked weird, putting it mildly. Nothing. Good thing I managed to put the notebooks back the way they had been. Are you sure? You look like you just seen a ghost. She smiled and put the cup on the table. I couldn't force myself to pick it up, as I could feel my hands shaking. Suddenly, I felt terrifying of being in the same room with this girl. I was absolutely sure that the note wasn't a prank or a hoax. It would have been completely out of character for Catherine. If she had decided to write something like this, it was serious, whether it was a threat or a warning. Nikolai? Yes, sorry, I just remember I've got some stuff to do. Katya looked at me carefully but didn't say a word. Very urgent stuff, I need to... Even under other circumstances, I would hardly been able to come up with something urgent to do, especially something I somehow forgot about. Catherine would never believe me like she didn't believe me now. You don't feel comfortable being here? She asked in a detached voice. No, don't say that, I just... Right when I finally decided to talk to you. Off you go. Katya finished calling, nodding toward the exit. Yeah, thank you, I mean bye, see you at school tomorrow. It took considerable effort not to break into a run. When I left the building, I realized that it was hard to breathe. My heart was pounding furiously, and it took some time to come to my senses. I wondered if she was watching me out of the window. Luckily, I was standing under a canopy, but I was standing for way too long, suspiciously long. Trying to keep a steady pace, I walked away from Catherine's house. I felt better among other people, away from her. Why did I react like this? Yeah, I didn't want to think that Catherine would make fun of me this way, but she changed so much in over a year and a half. And if she really wanted to warn me about something, then not mention my father's work. Yes, she wanted to warn you. She really wanted to save you, probably. The Catherine is your saver. I doubt Katya had anything to do with it, but her mother. I slowly walked away from the ever busy center of Tokyo, and soon skyscrapers gave way to small houses huddled together. It was quiet here as always, and more importantly, it was serene. Catherine wouldn't have liked it. Maybe she just wanted to take revenge on me. But why would she invite me to her apartment and try to explain something? I still couldn't fully believe she was the one to write the note. And what about the call? The voice had been clearly male. Even if I assumed that it was all Katya's ideas, what? Was she an evil genius with a gang of henchmen at hand? Of course, everything could be much simpler. I could be simply overthinking and making absurd assumptions. But why had my life been going its normal course until just a week ago? And now everything was going down the road to hell. Still, this day would soon end and a new one would begin. The few people on the streets walked with smiles on their faces. Sunday was possibly their only day off in the entire week, so why would they be happy about going to work tomorrow? If I were to rethink the flow of Japanese life from Catherine's perspective, everything would seem much more depressing than I usually saw it. But was that really enough to treat me like she had? I only reached home an hour and a half later. It was stupid to think that Himitsu was waiting for me. Inside there was only silence, even more deafening in contrast with the outside where the evening birds sang their songs. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water and froze in something akin to delirium. What next? What was I supposed to do? How was I supposed to leave? The note. I stormed to my room and took the note out of my drawer. Yes, the handwriting was definitely the same. There was no doubt that the note had been written by Catherine. I didn't even care for the why of it anymore. The only thing I wanted to know was, why me? Why was she doing this to me? Why did she keep doing this to me? But I still couldn't shake off the thought of a conversation in her apartment today. She just didn't resemble a sadist or a spy. What if her handwriting was faked? But why for? I continued coming up with theories, all based on my extraordinary importance. Maybe mostly because otherwise it meant Katya was doing all this out of resentment towards me, maybe seeking revenge. I didn't want to believe that, I simply couldn't force myself to. The ringing of the phone sounded peaceful, casual, but I flinched out of habit. It wasn't even evening yet, seemed a bit early of assassins, spies or any other dissidents. Soviet dissident. Hello. My voice sounded unnatural even to myself. Nick, are you alright? Why would Michael need me now? Never better. Well, if you say so. He continued after a short pause. It wasn't his character to pry. So you didn't forget anything? No, what am I supposed to have forgotten? We were planning to go to the cinema. We were? I really didn't remember anything like that. Maybe we actually did, most likely at school. He asked and I agreed without even realizing what he was talking about. These days I only thought of one thing. Yeah, right, you know. Let's go another time. I have a headache and tomorrow we have classes, so... I didn't even want to come up with a believable excuse. In a situation like this, Michael would be as tactful as possible no matter what. Alright, see you tomorrow then. So long! I hung up and stared at the front door. I could have asked her what was going on. I was pretty sure Katya wouldn't have killed me there and then. Suddenly, I felt that I was missing something, a tiny detail, a truthful that was necessary to put this puzzle together. Or was it all just a dream? At the time, 1.5 years ago, I often imagined that nothing had changed. I wake up the next day, everything would be the way it used to. Catherine hadn't gone anywhere, we were together and loved each other. And everything that had happened in reality was just another nightmare. It turned out that my nightmare went on to become more horrifying with every minute. And not waking up at all would have been the better option. I could have tried to find consolation with Himitsu, but after yesterday... And then suddenly I felt better. If only someone could see me now. What a pathetic sight. Yeah, I've always been prone to agonizing over my thoughts, but I never sunk to the point of self-pity, to this disgusting feeling that manifests when you think that the entire world is to blame and everyone is against you. You fucking stupid teenager, you fucking moron. You could just easily tell her, hey Kath, you know, I just saw the note. You know, for some reason I got exactly the same note. Can you explain me that? That's it. That's fucking it. And she was like, Nico-kun. Sorry. Fucking mosquitoes. And the cat will just like say, oh, you know what, Nico-kun, I really love you. I really love you, so can we please, you know, just have sex right now? We just bang, and I'm gonna tell you everything. He's like, sure, that's it. And boom, boom. You know, end of the game, happy end. We're going back to Himitsu. A car stopped at Himitsu's house. Her father was back. Wait, but they divorced. They divorced, I remember. Hadn't this already happened today? Requiring events there. Oh, like before, because they got divorced. Okay. There had been too many of them during the past year. Requiring events there here. Too many of them during the past year and a half. The same day every day, the same day every month, the same day every year to year. And in the end, a noose hanging from the ceiling of its tatami room. Tatami is a type of mat used as a flooring material for traditional Japanese style rooms. A room's floor space usually measured in tatamis in Japan, which is taken into account when building houses. A single tatami is 95.5 centimeters, which is 37.6 inches wide, and 191 centimeters, 75.2 inches long. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. I don't know why we need it, but okay. Although I wasn't sure I'd even manage to properly hang myself. Tall as I was. Oh, he's even tall. Shit, he has like... Oh my god, he has everything. If things continued on the same course, even Himitsu would have had enough and leave me. So life itself was pulling me out of the putrid swamp by my hair and pushing forward along the yellow brick road, with my companions, the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, perhaps Toto as well. I wondered if they would like the comparison. But in order to move forward, you have to make decisions. For example, talk to Catherine about the note. But not today. Today I was too tired. ... Sunday night was descending upon Tokyo, a night that provided a chance to get that final bit of fun before Monday. The craziest and most desperate fun. Oh my god, don't go to that bar! So half an hour they stood at the doors at the familiar bar. Inside was loud, filled smoke and reeking of booze. It's normal for the Japanese to have a drink or two after work when hanging out with friends or on a date. It was considered acceptable, sometimes even obligatory. What kind of corporate event would it be without eating and drinking? The only problem was that most of them had little to no tolerance for alcohol. 2 or 3 beers were usually enough to take them out, call a taxi or carry them home on your back. That's why I didn't like drinking with the Japanese. No matter what, in an hour's time you were left alone. At that point you're just wasting booze. Oi, cola! Bartender. Bartender's greeting reached me through the noise of the crowd. He picked over the heads of the people at the counter. Why had I chosen this bar and come here so often? I couldn't say it was close to my house, and the bar sort of resembled Soviet Ryumachная. Ryumachная is a type of snack bar that was popular in the USSR and mostly served strong alcohol drinks. Yes, we all remember them. And definitely not because of the bartender. Hey there, what can I get ya? I'll go for whiskey. Double whiskey, fuck yeah! Haha! Woohoo! Something happened! Yeah, life happened. It is that bad? Worse than usual. I'd love to hear about it, but work is aplenty, as you can see. He smiled apologetically, poured me a glass, and was about to take the bottle away when I stood up. When I stopped him by carefully grabbing his arm. Leave it be, I'm partying tonight. Kola, do you know how much this whiskey costs? I don't, and I don't care. You have nothing over 5,000 yen anyway. True enough. Oh, motherfucker, he's fucking alcoholic. Bartender goofed away and raced to the other end of the bar to greet a just right middle-aged man with reddish cheeks. Without the bartender around, there was a little sense sitting at the counter, so I moved to a free table. A waitress approached me right away. They could be found here on the weekends, but I coldly told her that I wasn't hungry and didn't let her slip me a menu. Watching the drinking layman was a kind of entertainment too. They didn't really care about being overheard by others, many shouting as loudly as they could. Visiting any bar in Tokyo on Sunday evening, you might learn that sales manager Ibashi secretly hates his boss, that secretary Minami-chan cheats on her husband, and big boss Tokisama fears so much for his children's future that he can't sleep properly. The next day they all go to work in a good mood, even if they couldn't manage to recall what they'd done or said the night before. I looked at the full bottle of whiskey. And as for me... Is this it taking? A young woman in a strict red business suit was standing in front of me. A European. I looked around the pub and realized that there were no other free seats. No. Oh, sorry, I'm just... She laughed and put down a tumbling cocktails from the bartender's vast collection. Okay, I think that's a good one, yeah? That's a good one. Preview. At least something new. Ah, okay. It's rare to meet a non-Japanese person here. Well, I think this is the perfect ending, guys. So, thank you very much for watching until the very end. Please join the channel, subscribe on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. In the description will be a playlist with this game. Thank you very much and we'll see you next episode.